And we're back. This time with episode 3 of United in the Stormwind card reviews. Usually I have a partner to do it with me, more specifically Taco. Today he has decided that he's too busy to come and join me for a talk. Well, screw you, Taco. But yeah, he's busy, and so we're gonna have to solo this. I could have asked someone else to come on, but honestly, I'm getting a little kind of overloaded and swamped with the editing, and it actually kind of was perfect that he wasn't able to come on today because there's less cards anyway. So I would have would have kind of slightly wasted his time. There's less cards today because of some controversy at Blizzard, which caused some of the card revealers to not reveal their cards. I think those cards are just gonna be added to the card dump, the mass card dump at the end. I'm not gonna get too much into the controversy. I don't really want to talk about it. Yeah, so there's less cards. So that means a lot less editing. There's only 2, 4, 6, 8, 9 cards this time. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. Yeah, there's 9 cards this time around that I want to get to reviewing. And not only that, there's not only less cards, but I also don't have to edit Taco's half of the commentary. So yeah, a lot less editing. Feels good, man. But yeah, to kind of sort of replace Taco's commentary, I did do a slight poll of most of these cards with some of my trusted friends from the Discord, and I do have their results with me. So I'm just going to tell you what they think and kind of justify their side of the argument, maybe. So I'm just going to be talking to myself, really. And to replace Taco, I'm going to talk to myself. Yes, that's what we're going to do here. But yeah, a lot of legendaries revealed to us today. So pretty kind of archetype defining usually legendaries are. So yeah, it should be a pretty good day for reviewing cards. First of all, we're gonna start with the Paladin Questline. This is the only questline revealed to us today, but questlines are exciting because I love quests and rise to the occasion. Oh man, yeah. So it's the 1-mana Paladin questline. The first phase of the questline, Rise to the Occasion, is to play 3 different 1-cost cards. The reward is to equip a 1/4 Light's Justice. The second phase is Pave the Way, which is to play 3 different 1-costs. And the reward is to upgrade your hero power. The Paladin hero power upgrades to summon 2 1/1 Silverhand recruits instead. So it's the Odd Paladin / Baku Paladin hero power. But delayed, because you do have to complete 2 phases of this quest. And then the final phase of the quest, Avenge the Fallen, play 3 1-cost minions again, and then you get given the reward for the questline, Lightborn Cariel, a 5-mana 7/7 with Battlecry. For the rest of the game, your Silverhand recruits have +2/+2. And it's important to note that this is an aura effect. Your Silverhand recruits have +2/+2 for the rest of the game, which means it does buff any existing Silverhand recruits on the board. So yeah, I think this questline is good. My friends on Discord actually think it's bad, so we do have a big disagreement here. Let me justify my side first. I think it's good because there was a little misunderstanding. And we all had this clarified in the Discord. So there were when this card was revealed to us, it was told to us that we would actually have to play 9 different 1-cost cards, like completely different. So it's really difficult to complete if you think about it that way, because first day of school, like Penflinger is the example they used. Penflinger would only count. Penflinger, if you played it like 3 times, would only count for 1 quest credit across any of these quests. So you'd have to play like 9 totally and completely different 1-cost cards throughout the span of this quest line. But that got corrected. Penflinger actually does count for 1 quest credit on each of these phases. So Penflinger itself counts for 3 of the 9 quest credit, just spread out across the 3 phases. And this is really good for the quest line because cards like First Day of School actually automatically complete a full phase by themselves, as long as you don't duplicate the 1-cost cards that you generate. so for example, let's say you play first day of school and it generates you an Elven Archer and like an animated broomstick or something like that. Yeah, if you play all three of those cards, you complete the first quest line, and then you get a Light's Justice. Let's say you drew another first day of school, you play that, and it generates you an Elven Archer and an animated broomstick. Yes, that by itself, if you play those three cards, it will complete the second quest line. Therefore, you can upgrade your hero power while playing the exact same three cards you played in phase 1. And then let's say, for example, you drew a Wand Maker and you generated a first day of school, and then you played the first day of school and it generated you another Elven Archer and another Animated Broomstick. Yes, you do complete the third phase of this quest. So it's actually reasonably easy to complete, seeing as 2 first days of school and a Penflinger will automatically complete the whole quest by itself. So yeah, that's not that bad. There's also other one-cost cards that we're interested in running in Paladin. For example, Knight of Anointment. We have secrets if you want. I'm not sure how. I don't think the secrets will be a good enough package. I think the packages might be too big, but we'll see when the deck building actually happens. Conviction is a one-cost card. Righteous Protector is a good one-cost card. Maybe Broomstick is actually included in your deck for real. Yeah, stuff like that. So there's a lot of one-cost options that you have, and Paladin hasn't actually gotten that many cards revealed yet. So we might even get more support for this quest. I think it's actually very reasonable, just in general, because it's so easy to complete, but also because you kind of, I mean, you get a Light's Justice, so you kind of keep control of the board. You're playing minions as you go. Most of Paladin's one-cost cards are minions, so you're kind of putting stuff on the board, kind of controlling the board, and then you suddenly get an upgraded Paladin Hero Power, which is very good at spamming Silverhand recruits onto the board. And then you play Lightborn Cariel, and a 5-mana 7/7 in a deck where you are kind of fighting for board / ahead on board, kind of, is really, really strong, especially when it comes with a Fungal Mancer type effect on any existing Silverhand recruits. So you could start pushing a lot of damage as soon as you play Lightborn Cariel, the turn of, if you had stuck any Silverhand recruits beforehand. So, and also, more importantly, you've upgraded your hero power, and your hero power now also is further upgraded by Lightborn Cariel. So your hero power actually summons 2 3/3s instead of 2 1/1s. And if we total up the stats, it's a 2-mana 6/6, which, if you guys remember, is the exact same hero power from Jaraxxus. And Jaraxxus is one of the strongest endgame cards we have currently. That value is very, very strong off that hero power, and we get to play a 5-mana 7/7. We get to play Silverhand Recruit synergies to keep up the pressure while our hero power is keeping up the pressure. So yeah, so that's why it really inspires me to think that this is good. Okay, and then the main problem with this quest line is that you're playing a lot of one-cost cards. So how do we kind of maintain? How do we draw cards? Like, these one-cost cards should be low impact, and they will be in the late game. So how do we draw cards, and what do we include in our deck to kind of keep up the gas or keep up the pressure? And I do think that because this hero power is so strong, and you're kind of clicking it every turn, you won't need as much card draw as usual, because you will be able to saturate your mana partially by clicking the hero power. So the card draw that I proposed was Cornelius Rome. This is the neutral card draw engine that I was so high on in the last episode. I still think he's very good, and I think he's a decent fit for this Paladin. You'll be drawing a large amount of cards back to back, and some of those cards will be one-cost cards, so it's actually kind of easy to hand dump as you draw these cards with Cornelius. So yeah, I think Cornelius should be a solid part of this. Again, we're still waiting to see like 7 Paladin cards, so we might see ways to draw cards. Other strong one-cost cards support for Paladin. So yeah, I'm really, really high on this one. I'm really confused why they said it was bad, my friends on Discord. But if I had to say why they think it's bad, I think it's because that they think that these 1/1s, like, this is the Baku hero power, but it is coming out decently late. So I'm pretty sure they're thinking that before you complete your hero power, it's not your hero power isn't really strong, and you don't really have anything going for you. And it's coming a little too late. So if your opponent has anything on board already, they're just gonna, you know, trade away your 1/1s as they come out. So maybe I think they think that this middle stage of the quest line is a little weak for the Paladin, and yeah, I could see that. But uh, falling behind is something that I aim to solve by suggesting Animated Broomstick in the deck. And Animated Broomstick is just gonna make all of your 3/3s later on also rush. So, and that is that reminds us of, and it also makes carry all rush. So you have a rushing 7/7 and you have rushing 3/3s, and it kind of reminds you of a militia type effect. And militia is one of the strongest board clears slash development tools available in the game today. So yeah, there's a lot of good things that I see in this quest line. I'm pretty hopeful for it. Let's move on to the other Paladin card, which I'm not as hopeful for. Lightbringer's Hammer, 3 mana 3/2 weapon with lifesteal, but also it can't attack heroes. Right away, yeah, I'm gonna tell you right away. I think this card is bad. And my friends on Discord actually agree as well. They think it's bad. The reason why it's bad is that this is just it's just a weapon for an archetype of Paladin which doesn't exist. This is a when weapons can't push face damage, which is one of the strongest things weapons do actually. When it can't push face damage, you have to have a really strong weapon, and this weapon is kind of outclassed by the other 3 mana weapon, which can push face damage in Paladin. Let me just type in weapon, which is Underlay Angling Rod. Same stat line. It doesn't heal you, but it gives you a Murloc, so you go kind of positive in card advantage. If you ever trade into a minion with this card, you get to remove something, and you get to add a card to your hand. So you're going strictly positive in card advantage. Health total isn't that relevant in Paladin when they've got like a bunch of cards to heal themselves. For example, the Librams in Paladin, Libram of Hope, very capable of healing you large amounts. Libram of Judgment, also very capable of healing you large amounts. I'm bringing up the Librams right now because that is kind of the closest we got this expansion to a control Paladin. But really, that was still a very initiative focused slash board based Paladin, one that tried to get on the board and actually kill the opponent. So it's not even like Libram Paladin isn't even like a fitting home for this hammer, this Lightbringer's Hammer. But even if you think it, you can't really justify it. But the other thing is that it's a 3 mana weapon, so it does kind of clash and compete with other 3 mana weapons in its same class. Sword of the Fallen is a much better weapon. True Silver Champion, a weapon that actually heals you as well, and also is able to go face, is important as well. Hammer the Naru, a very good endgame weapon. This is a little further out of the mana range, but weapons of all costs actually tend to compete each other because they need to be able. They consume something that your hero has limited, like of, and that is weapon swings. So the more durability a weapon has, the more weapons you have, the less likely that another weapon will be useful. So, and most Paladins right now pack a lot of weapons already, so it's going to be really tough to slot in a weapon like Lightbringer's Hammer that doesn't actually do what most weapons are good at doing, which is going face. The parallel that we should draw, the comparison we should draw right away is to Eldrachi Warblades, the other lifesteal weapon that we have in the game, I think. And Eldrachi Warblades is actually a ridiculously broken card, very strong. It had to be nerfed, but it is a Demon Hunter card, and Demon Hunters were able to buff their attack, and so and also Eldrachi Warblades goes face, and so Demon Hunters were able to slam their opponent for like 7 attack and heal for 7 at the same time, and that's a really strong play because you get to first of all, you get to attempt to end the game by killing your opponent, but also more importantly, you also put yourself out of any lethal range if you heal yourself that much. Paladin doesn't have either of those. First of all, it can't attack heroes. Lightbringer's Hammer can't attack heroes, and it doesn't have weapon buffs or attack buffs for its hero. That's just not something Paladin has gotten like ever. So Lightbringer's Hammer, very tough to find a place for this. So I have to say it's bad. The fact that most people on the Discord agree, I'm not going to justify it too much. They probably just have the same opinions. Okay. Moving along. Next card. Oh, so so we're moving on to the Warlock cards, which I is a blast from the past. We're going back to Handlock. Yeah, so we have a 4 mana Warlock spell right here. A 4 mana Warlock spell to Shadow spell. 4 mana Shadow spell. 4 mana Warlock spell. Dark Alley Pact. Summon a fiend with stats equal to your hand size. So the fiend is a demon, and that is relevant. And I did mention that it's Shadow because that is relevant as well. I think this card is good, and the Discord thinks it's okay. I think this is a good card because this is essentially a mountain giant. The Handlock of old, of Legends, used to just tap, just press their hero power over and over again until turn 4, when they would have the exact mana to be able to play a mountain giant, a 4 mana 8/8 at the time, or either that or like a 3 mana 8/8, depending on if you were on the coin or not. Yeah, so like if you are not on the coin, let's see, you start with 3 cards, then you draw 1 for turn 1, you can't tap. You draw 1 for turn 2, so you're on 5 cards. Then you tap, then you're on 6 cards. On turn 3, you draw cards, so you're on 7, and then you tap, so you're now on 8 cards. Then on turn 4, you draw to 9 cards, and then you get to play this on turn 4 as an 8/8. Actually, it's exactly a mountain giant when you don't have the coin. When you do have the coin, you probably get to like maybe play a card, or I don't know. I don't really want to think about the coin. But yeah, it's roughly that size. And if you do have the coin, you actually coin this out 1 turn earlier for a smaller mountain giant too. So it's not as restrictive as mountain giant. It's a little flexible in that regard. But more importantly, it's just a really big, strong stat line for this early in the game. And that's really, really good because it allows Warlock to actually be proactive and threaten to attack the enemy hero and actually end the game that way, by depleting their health to 0 very rapidly. The reason why I think it's good is because it's a lot of stats, the threat, yada yada yada. But more importantly, we live in an era now where we don't necessarily have to tap in order to maintain card advantage or gain card advantage. There's a lot of cards in standard right now which generate a card. For example, actually we're about to get one printed right, along with the set. Pandaren Porter makes a card right in your hand. Venomous Scorpid makes a card. Wandmaker makes a card. We have a lot of cards that do that. So you can kind of play minions out onto the board, and they kind of replace themselves, and then you get to keep drawing cards. So like you never really go. If you wanted to build in that fashion, you never really go down in card advantage, and so you can actually build Dark Alley Pact really large. You can build up your hand size to be really large while actually putting stuff in play. This was a weakness of the old handlocks of Legend, way long ago, where they just had to kind of pass turns tapping and tapping and tapping, kind of reducing their health, falling behind on board, and then just slamming the mountain giants, putting taunt on them, and just trying to stabilize their the position that they put themselves in. You might not have to do that with this Warlock idea, because you will have things like Venomous Scorpid fighting for board for you, or maybe like Wandmaker fighting for board for you. So like that's like a really, really big upgrade to old Handlock. I mentioned that it's Shadow. Of course, Tamsin is important for this. Tamsin is very likely to be run in the same deck along with Dark Alley Pact, mainly because you could just create a bunch of stats out of nowhere on turn 7, play Tamsin, play Dark Alley Pact, and then you get to play Dark Alley Pact again for free. You kind of make like a huge board on turn 7 out of nowhere. There are also a bunch of other Shadow cards that Tamsin works with, most of them having to do with healing, or soul shard shuffling. But yeah, so like we have Shadow cards. We have an idea. Like it's an idea that is compact and fits together. There's healing in the deck. There's stats that threaten, and there are removal spells. We do have Hysteria still available to Warlock, and also I forgot to mention that Manari Mosher, which gives any demon lifesteal. So that is relevant because this is a demon. So if you make a large statted demon and then give it lifesteal, you get to heal it all back. So there's actually a very large amount of healing available to Warlock, uh, right now. And Touch of Nathrazim as well was printed along with this Touch of Nathrazim. Yeah, Touch of Nathrazim. This card is actually looking more and more reasonable just because it heals so much. Yeah, but like what I'm trying to say is that there's an idea, and I think I'm very excited to see that this idea is reasonable. And more importantly, I think I'm excited to see that this idea isn't Ticketus. Ticketus has not been a good card, unfortunately, and we definitely move away from Ticketus as control warlocks and kind of put in this handlock package. Especially, yeah, they rated it okay in the Discord. I think they rated it okay just because warlock has just been bad for so long that a card needs to be like seriously broken for them to rate it as good. I think they just have doubts that whether or not warlock can become viable out of nowhere after it's been bad for just so long. So I think they're just a little skeptical, but this card is probably not, if Warlock doesn't see play, this card is probably not to blame for that. But yeah, anyway, I'm excited for this package because of the other Warlock card that was revealed today, the Warlock Legendary, a Netheron, a 6-mana 8/6 demon that costs 1 if your hand is full. So I think this is the other part of the handlock package. Well, yeah, other part, quote unquote, but it's just like one card since it's legendary. But it is more support for it's just another card that rewards you for filling up your hand. So I think that's very likely that you get this down for 1 mana, and if you get this down for 1 mana, it's actually really broken. Because you also get it down on turn 4 or 5ish. And that when it's that early, this is a reasonable card. It's a lot of stats, very powerful, very capable of ending the game very rapidly, especially if you play Dark Alley Pact and then you play a Netheron the next turn. It's kind of backbreaking if you do like enough of these large stat plays back to back. A Netheron, also a demon, so also has the same Manari Mosher applications. I'm very curious how the deck is going to be built, how much generation it's going to have versus how much demons it's going to have in the deck, because we do want probably a maximal uptime of Manari Mosher. The healing is actually really relevant. It actually threatens your opponent. I mean, there's also burst attached to it. But like, if your opponent just kind of, because neither of these demons have taunt, let's say if your opponent just ignores them and kind of hits you in the face and tries to end the game, the fact that Manari Mosher is in your deck will, and then you can play it on one of your big demons, and then you heal all of it back instantly. It negates all the face damage that happened. Your opponent is at less health. These are both really good things for Warlock. So yeah, I want that uptime on Manari Mosher as well. There's also rumblings of Flesh Giant for another threat. Flesh Giant with Soul Shards, Soul Fragments was proposed. It's really interesting how this deck is going to be built, because I think that there's many ways to build it, and I'm not sure which one's the best. But the fact that we have so many options and variations, and they all seem okay, I'm excited about. So I'm also willing to give the Netheron a good rating. I did not get the opinion of the Discord people on this one, because this was released after I got their attention and got them to vote. So I don't actually know what they think about it. I think the general consensus, though, from what I was just reading, is that it's not that good. I'm not positive what the I'm not really positive what the justification for it is, so I'm not going to really try. Oh yeah, but I also wanted to mention that there's another card that actually likes having your hand being full, and this is a card that Taco and I really talked down when we saw it at first. It was revealed like one of the first weeks. I think we did mention that like if a handlock or like a big hand warlock existed, this might be considerable. So we did cover our bases a little bit, so that's good. But yeah, Spice Bread Baker actually does look kind of reasonable if it could heal you for like 9 or 10. That's actually kind of reasonable. Still not too excited about this. Not sure if this belongs in the deck. It is very low impact. Still Radiance plus-ish on a body. Still not that great, but it is an option. So we do see more and more support, potential options for the archetype. All right, but yeah, let's move on. Enough handlock speak. The next card is Bolner Hammerbeak. This is a Shaman legend. This is the Shaman legendary, not the questline, of course. It's a 2-mana 1/4 Bolner Hammerbeak. After you play a Battlecry minion, repeat the first Battlecry played this turn. And I just wanted to clarify one thing. The first Battlecry you play this turn could be a card that you play after this card. So, for example, if you play this and then Custodian, Cage Match Custodian, you get the Cage Match Custodian Battlecry, and then Bolner Hammerbeak actually procs because Cage Match Custodian is a Battlecry minion, and so then you repeat the first Battlecry you play this turn, which was the Cage Match Custodian you just played, therefore drawing you another weapon. So so this kind of doubles the first Battlecry you play after it. Oh, rather, it doubles if you play this first, if you play Bolner first, and you play a Battlecry afterwards, it doubles that Battlecry, basically, is what it is. And any subsequent Battlecry you play will, repeat the Battlecry you played after Bolner. So the first Battlecry, obviously, the first Battlecry, that's what the card says. What I'm trying to say is that it's very important that this doubles the first Battlecry. You don't have to play like 3 cards in order to duplicate that Battlecry effect. And it's important, and I think that makes this card okay. The Discord says it's good. This is a card that really confused me, and I definitely would have picked it for my card of this day, of this review, of this episode rather. Because it is a really strong card, but it does confuse me. I'm not sure if it sees play, and the reason why I think so, even though it is a very strong card, is because the strongest Shaman Battlecries currently are Cage Match Custodian and Primal Dungeoneer, both card draw effects. So I'm thinking that it's strongest when Bolner actually burst draws you a bunch of cards, kind of refills your hand. But the problem is that Bolner, like, you don't shamans are kind of on a clock to kill their opponent. They have been for a long time now. There hasn't really been a long game shaman strategy in a long time, and so they can't really save their card draw in order to combo with Bolner. So cards like Cage Match Custodian need to be played on time so you can equip your Doomhammer on time. Cards like Primal Dungeoneer need to be played early on so that you can draw more resources so that you can decide what's the best way to deal the 30 damage to your opponent. So like the cards that are strongest with Bolner are really tough to save kind of for Shaman. So I'm not positive if it sees play with our current Shaman information, but for just a maybe it's good enough if you can just play Primal Dungeoneer, draw your Cage Match Custodian, and then next turn you play Bolner plus Cage Match Custodian, therefore drawing you 2 weapons. So drawing both of your Doom Hammers or drawing both of your Whack-A-Null Hammers. Maybe that's good enough, and it is a lot of card draw, and there is a lot of gas there, but drawing multiple weapons isn't really that impactful, especially drawing both of your Doom Hammers. That's not really that good, seeing as Doom Hammers have so many weapon charges. But yeah, drawing both of your Whack-A-Null Hammers is conceivably not that horrible. It's actually not bad because they do have less weapon charges, so it's easier to get through the weapons and be able to equip the next Whack-A-Null. So it's potential, but I'm not positive. It is a very powerful card, and Shaman hasn't had many cards revealed to them, I believe. Let's take a look. Whoops. Shaman. Yeah, Shaman hasn't had that many cards revealed to them yet, so we actually could get a lot of more support for Bolner. We're really just looking for other battle cries that are reasonable, so that we could maybe, and also specifically cheap battle cries, so that we can continue to proc Primal Dungeoneer and continue to proc maybe. Oh yeah, and we're also of course looking for cheap and good battle cries. Also, if we get cheap and good battle cries, it could be something that is good for Evolve Shaman as well, which Tiny Toys has been released for. Tiny Toys being one of the other Shaman spells. We reviewed this in the last episode. So I think that Shaman is getting, if we get small, cheap, good battle cries, Shaman is in a very interesting and good place, I think. So I'm excited that we see this Bolner Hammerbeak, because it does kind of foreshadow that we might be getting that support, which is just good for Shaman overall. So the Discord said it was good, and I think they're just really optimistic. They see the power level in this card, and I admit this is a very strong card. I'm just not sure, is what it is. Okay, let's move on. We have another legendary. They did drop a lot of legendaries on us this time. This is the Demon Hunter legendary. Jace Darkweaver, an 8 mana 7/5 Battlecry, cast all fell spells you've played this game, targeting enemy minion and targeting enemies if possible. My bad. And I think this this is actually a really funny card because it has the YOGG Sauron stat line. It's a 7/5. It is not 10 mana like YOGG Sauron, but it is a 7/5 and it does it does like just cast a bunch of spells. It's very chaotic, very reminiscent of YOGG, and actually the stat line is also YOGG. So I think that's what they were trying to do, but more importantly, I think this card is okay. Oh no, my bad. No, I'm gonna change that. I'm sorry. In my notes, I wrote an okay next to it, but that okay is actually for the Discord. The Discord thinks it's okay. I think it's good. I think this is a good card. And I think so because of the fell spells that we have currently. Let me actually get that for you. The fell spells we currently have in Demon Hunter are spells like Fury and Chaos Strike. So Fury being deal 2 damage, Chaos Strike being deal 2 damage, draw a card. Other good fell spells we have is our I-Beam, and Metamorphosis. Maybe this is probably not going to be good enough to be run in the deck, but like these 3 fell spells already kind of incite some hope into me. Fury, Chaos Strike, and I-Beam. Whenever you play, so if you cast a few copies of these cards before, and then you cast Jace, you gain a bunch of attack out of nowhere, and you just randomly shoot some enemy minions with I-Beam, therefore healing yourself and kind of removing. So Jace comes with some removal, some healing, and the ability to gain a bunch of attack out of nowhere, and you're probably going to aim this at your opponent's face. So Jace comes kind of with charge in that sense, because you do get to attack with all those attack buffs, and he also comes with life-stealing I-Beams. So that's really, really reminiscent of a buffed up Eldrazi Warblades out of nowhere, and that was something that we mentioned earlier in this episode as very, very good. And the fact that this is the only Demon Hunter card revealed does kind of suggest that we might be getting some more fell spells for Demon Hunter, and any good fell spells will definitely make Jace better. But the most important thing about Jace is that he doesn't actually restrict you from playing other spells. So Skull of Gul'dan is not a fell spell, but you can still play this, and this is one of the strongest Demon Hunter cards, obviously. So being not restricted away from playing this is a good thing. And I can tell you right now, the Discord says it's okay, and I think the reason why they think it's okay, and it's pretty obvious actually, is because the other 8 mana Demon Hunter card that is currently seeing play is Illidari Inquisitor, and this card is really good. It is really, really good. It also does kind of have charge and does attack your opponent in the face most of the time. Very, very easy to get 8 damage off of this, going to your opponent's face. So, yeah, this is a good question. I believe Jace actually is roughly equivalent to Illidari Inquisitor for most of the time. So the question is whether or not you would run 3, and I think the answer to that is yes. My friends in the Discord don't think so, but we'll see. I'm interested in Jace. Jace can also do different things. He could do board clears that are stronger as well. We'll just have to see what the fell spells really do. But spells like Fury and Chaos Strike didn't see play this expansion, but they got really close to seeing play. So, yeah, Fury was tried in like a mid-range Demon Hunter while the Watch Posts were still unnerfed. Same with Chaos Strike. So, yeah, there's potential. I mean, Chaos Strike is a good card. We all know that because, it's been around for so long. So, just having an excuse to play it again is a good thing. Okay, moving along. We've got the Oracle of Elune, a 3-mana Druid Epic minion. It's a 3-mana 2/4. After you play a minion that costs 2 or less, summon a copy of it. And yeah, I'm just going to call this bad right away. The Discord, this is one of the cards I didn't get a response from my friends. So yeah, it's just a blank. I think it's bad, and I think most people agreed with it as well, is because Druid just doesn't really run small minions anymore. The only small minion it actually runs is Gibberling, across like all of no, that's not true. They also run Animated Broomstick, but across all of the druids, you don't really see small minions that are, you know, cost 2 or less, except Gibberling and maybe Animated Broomstick. And I can actually do a check for you right now, and the reason for that is that no, there's like you either ramp away from the need to play small minions, or you just play the Gibberling Druid, which is based on spells only, trying to get as many spells in the deck. So Oracle of Elune kind of just has no, you know, place to really fit into the Druid archetypes. And as we scroll through these 2-mana minions of Druid, you'll see that it's actually not even that strong. The strongest thing we would copy is probably Razormane Battle Guard. So yeah, and then we start to get these 3-mana minions. So actually, straight up, the only 2-mana and under minions is Enchanted Raven, Gibberling, and Razormane Battle Guard. And then we have to start looking to neutrals. You definitely don't want to be copying a Broomstick. That's actually kind of really useless. Scrolling through, these are minions that, you know, Druid doesn't really run most of the time. Copying Penflinger is kind of funny, but also still not a very Druid thing. Hasn't really seen playing Druid. Yeah, then we get to, you know, the cheap taunts, you know, for 2 mana. Anoyotron, also another 2-mana card. So like, yeah, we're starting to see a pattern here where the cards that you're interested in copying are kind of from the taunt Druid archetype, and oh yeah, also I guess Loot Hoarder is pretty decent too. But yeah, they're from the taunt Druid archetype, and that's not an archetype that's really succeeded at all. This expansion got a lot of support in Forge and the Barrens, but the reason why it failed is not because it didn't have the ability to swarm, it's because they didn't have the ability to draw cards after they ran out of gas. And it didn't really have any strong synergies at all either, and summoning more taunts isn't really what it needs. The strongest synergy it had was with Greybow, and copying Greybow specifically. And Greybow is a 5-mana card, 5-mana taunt, so the Oracle of Elune doesn't do that either. So it's really just tough to see where this goes, and because of that, we kind of have to give it bad. I don't really think copying a 2 cost or less minion is actually that impactful either. Just because, I mean, it's a 2-mana minion that you're playing on turn 5. How big can it be? Like, you're really just getting close to playing. Yeah, it actually reminds me a lot of Garden Gnome. Oh, which is actually now wild, so we do have to go to wild. Yeah, so it really reminds me a lot of Garden Gnome, which is a 4-mana card. You can see here, and gives you 2/2s on the side. This is roughly the amount of stats you're getting. And this didn't really see a lot of play. So like in terms of like pure stats, you're not really getting that much. So the effect on the 2 costs that you're copying, or the 1 cost that you're copying, has to be really strong. It's tough. I don't really know. Okay, moving on. Counterfeit Blade. This is a rogue card. As a rogue main, I kind of have to be excited for this card, but I'm telling you right now, I'm not. It's a rogue weapon, a 4-mana 4/2 rogue weapon with Battlecry. Gain a random friendly Deathrattle that triggered this game. So yeah, you can tell why I'm not excited. This is a Deathrattle rogue support card. It's an epic too, so we can actually assume that rogue is getting foundational support for Deathrattles. Their commons and rares are likely to be Deathrattle support, or one of them is likely to be Deathrattle support. The other one could be like, it could be anything. But what I'm trying to say is that Deathrattle Rogue, whenever it gets support printed for it, isn't really that exciting. There's only one time in my memory where it's been good, and that's with Necrim Apothecary. So I'm ready to call this card. Well, I mean, with our current information, it's bad. But is this effect even good? I don't really think. I'm not really sure that this effect is even good. I have to give this bad, to be honest. Gaining a random Deathrattle that triggered this game requires you to have. I mean, and also Rogue is a very tempo heavy class. It doesn't really go for longer game effects, so you really have to look for 2-mana and 3-mana Deathrattles and see if they're good. And then the question is, like, do we even like? I'll tell you right now. I actually know the answer to it because I looked at it. These 2-mana and 3-mana Deathrattles are not good for Rogue. Yeah. So the best Deathrattle I found was Ticketmaster. So Ticketmaster, Lillian is like maybe it's a good Deathrattle, not really. Tomb Pillager is not a good Deathrattle. Curse Vagrant comes out too late. Apothecary Hellbrim is irrelevant. Akama's irrelevant. Yeah, these Deathrattles aren't that impactful either. Like, you could draw a card. Yeah, it's not really that good on a 4-mana 4/2 weapon, just to draw a card after it breaks. Nerubian Egg is also not that good. It just summons a 4/4. I don't know. It's just too slow at that point. And you also have to get your Nerubian Egg dead by turn 4. That's pretty hard to do. One of the better ones is actually Devouring Ectoplasm. Kind of sad because you just summon 2/2. A lot of just really mediocre Deathrattles in Rogue right now. It's tough to see Counterfeit Blade seeing play right now today. We're going to have to see support for it in this new expansion in Stormwind. It's tough, though. It's tough. Just not... It's just so weird, because it's like... Usually, when you get effects like this with Deathrattle cheating, you want to cheat like some really high-impact Deathrattle that you cheated onto the board. So, like, yeah, that's what Necrim Apothecary did. It would cheat a Deathrattle from your deck into play, and then you would, have the Necrim Apothecary die, or like have the... Or like trigger the Deathrattle somehow. Yeah, there were ways to trigger that Deathrattle back in the day. But this doesn't really... Like, there's no trigger Deathrattle for a weapon. And the Deathrattle support that we have in the core set, which is right here, Baron Rivendare, it only triggers minion Deathrattles twice. So this doesn't even work with Baron Rivendare. So yeah, a lot of... I mean, also they're both 4-cost cards, so like it's kind of tough to get them together. So yeah, a lot of... Oh, I guess you could play the weapon, swing with it, and then next turn play Baron Rivendare. But like it doesn't even work, so it doesn't... Like, let's not dwell on that. Yeah, it's just so weird to see this. And also the other thing that's really, really bad for this card is that it's a 4-mana card, and that conflicts with Kazakus, which is a really strong card right now in Miracle Rogue. And the fact that you can't play Kazakus is a little questionable, because this card is really good, and Counterfeit Blade is not currently. So we do have to see a lot of support for this. Enough that I'm willing to maybe pronounce it dead right now. Ticketmaster just isn't it. Yeah, the Discord said it was okay. I think they're a little more optimistic than I am. I'm just not really excited about a Deathrattle Rogue. It's just feels a little slow and clunky at all. Like, ever since since the beginning. Of course, there's only one Rogue, Deathrattle Rogue, that was good to me, and all the other ones kind of just fail. So yeah, Blizzard did also say, the dev team rather, they did say that they would try and focus more on tempo-y Deathrattles, so that Deathrattles don't fail as often. So seeing Deathrattle being printed in Rogue and hearing them say that does get me more optimistic. Ah, man, I just want to kill people fast. No Deathrattle nonsense. Anyway, the last card for today, Two-Faced Investor. This is a 3-mana neutral minion. It's a 3-mana 2/4. At the end of your turn, reduce the cost of a card in your hand by 1. But also there's a 50% chance to increase that cost instead. And I think this card doesn't need too much explanation. It's actually just bad. Everyone in the Discord also agreed with me it's bad. This is a unanimous vote. It's bad because this is not overstated. It's a regular statted minion, and it's a regular statted minion that can backfire on you. You really just don't want this effect. Play better cards. There's a lot of better cards in this. Keep that one short. Let's not dwell on that one. Yeah, so this is the end of episode 3. Let's see how long it was. Let's see how long I could talk to myself for. I entertained myself for about 45 minutes. So yeah, so I'll get to editing. We'll try... Taco is free tomorrow, and so there's a bunch of cards also being revealed tomorrow. So I'm going to have to edit for that as well. Sigh. But yeah, we'll see you in episode 4. Bye!